The summer GOG sale has just started, so I wanted to highlight some games that aren't necessarily the blockbuster AAA games that normally get mentioned. Some of these deals are pretty crazy, and even if you see this video later, it's pretty likely that these games will either be on sale again soon or are already pretty cheap. So let's get started. Freedom Force is one of those games that was decently well known at the time it came out, but it came out in like 2002, so things have changed a lot since then. But it's a great tactical RPG with superheroes and has a ton of charm to it. This is a game that got all 90s across the board when it came out, and even in 2025, I think it's well worth playing, especially for the current price, which is $1.29. And just a little history, this was Irrational Games' first solo developed game, made just after they had helped out with System Shock 2, and they later went on to make Bioshock Infinite. Ken Levine even did a couple of the voices for Freedom Force, so if you like that, why not buy the sequel, Freedom Force versus the Third Reich? Very similar, and you can also get it on sale for $1.29 on GOG. Regardless of whether you get it now while it's on sale or later, make sure to get the GOG version because they've actually fixed some of the bugs and made sure it runs on modern PCs, which is not true of the Steam version. Drakensang is one of those RPGs from Germany that had a big following in Europe, but didn't necessarily translate that success as much to the US. It's a third-person RPG with real-time with pause combat. The most direct comparison would be Neverwinter Nights. It has a big campaign, character creation, and everything you would expect from a game like that, and it's currently on sale on GOG for $1.99. It also has a sequel, but that's not actually on GOG. Also a good game, but for that, you have to wait for a Steam sale if you want a similar deal. Gurumin is one of the less famous entries from Falcom, but that doesn't mean it isn't a good game. It's actually pretty similar to the East series, and the way that it plays, it's an action RPG, but with a lighter story. Gurumin actually harkens back to a bit of old school 3D platforming games as well. The drill that your character uses not only gets used for fighting, but also for exploring and solving puzzles. So make sure to look around for hidden secrets. Right now, you can get it on GOG for $1.99. Prince of Chin is a classic RPG that is a lot like Baldur's Gate, but isn't that well known, which is a shame because it's in a setting that isn't explored as much in Western games, a period in Chinese history known as the Qin Dynasty. You control a party of 5 characters and the combat is real-time with pause, so fans of those classic RPGs will find a lot to love here. It's currently on sale for $1.99. Albion is an old school RPG that is very unique. Not only is it unique in the setting, taking place on an alien world, but in the way that it plays. Part of the time you play the game from this top-down perspective, reminiscent of old RPGs from the 90s, and part of the time you are in this first-person view, like in a dungeon crawler. It actually held up very well because of its style, and it's fun to play now, almost 30 years later, so it's on sale on GOG for $1.49. Elex is one of those games that I believe is hugely underrated. It's a third-person RPG and the latest and last series from Piranha Bytes. Rest in peace. You do need to go into the game with an open mind. Don't expect this top-tier AAA experience. It's janky, some of the dialogue is weird and unnatural, but it's also surprisingly deep in a lot of ways, and it has some of the most satisfying exploration in any game. Exploring actually matters since you can find some of the best loot just sitting in a random corner somewhere or on top of a building, which you can get to with your upgradable jetpack. So give Elex a chance and embrace that Eurojank goodness. You can get it on sale for $7.49 on GOG. And while you're at it, maybe pick up their other game, Risen, for $3. Anachronox is a bit of a weird one, but I say that with love and respect. It combines the elements of Japanese RPGs with Western RPGs in an interesting way. So you have JRPG-style turn-based combat and a quirky sci-fi story where you explore different planets. Honestly, this would be a great candidate for a remake, but it does hold up decently well if you aren't allergic to old school polygonal graphics, and there are HD texture mods, so make sure to use those. It's well worth the price, which is right now 97 cents on GOG. We have a couple of Larian games here to talk about, and we'll start with where it all began. Divinity, not their first game, but the origin of the Divinity IP. Very different from their later games, as this was a bit more like a Diablo style of combat. You can see a lot of the archetypes from what they would later become in their humor and the deep lore of the game. And this one is the cheapest game yet at 89 cents. Divinity 2 is the next evolution of Larian, with a big upgrade in the graphical department, third-person action RPG combat, and dragons. That's right, you actually shapeshift into a dragon and burn things down in this game. Divinity 2 is highly underrated. I played it a long time after it released, and I think it holds up very well. It is a bit janky and not the most polished gem, but a gem nonetheless. You can get Divinity 2 Developer's Cut on GOG for $1.99. The last game on this list, and one that I don't think gets enough praise, is Atom RPG. This game clearly took its inspiration from the classic Interplay games, Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, but it's not just a spiritual successor. It has a different setting, and that is the Soviet wasteland, a post-apocalyptic Soviet Union. There is a ton of depth in this RPG, including choices, a large amount of content, and fun systems to play with. Currently on sale for $2.99. But that's not all. It has a standalone expansion called Atom RPG Trudograd, which takes everything they learned from the first part, makes it even better, not to mention adding something like 30 hours of content and longer than that if you explore everything. It is also on sale on GOG for $2.19. So there you go. Ton of very cheap hidden gem games that I think are well worth your time, some of them for less than $1, so go out there and buy them all. I do videos on JRPGs, Western RPGs, and story-based games, so if you like that, subscribe. Thanks for watching.